Structure is not the opposite of sacred work.
Structure is
Uh-oh.
not the
Hold
opposite
on.
of
I hear
sacred
myself.
work. Structure is
There we go. All right, stopping. That was a little something that I forgot happened. Sorry, guys. So I'm trying to say that structure is not the opposite of sacred work. If you're spiritual and you are woo-woo, but you have no structure, you're not going to be successful. I'm so sorry, but you're not. You might like yourself and people might like you. We definitely will like you. People are going to love you. You're lovable, okay? But that's natural. In order to have a successful business, especially a business that pays you really what you deserve as someone who has a heart and a passion, if you have something that's valuable to offer, you need to structure it properly, okay? Structure is what allows sacred work to continue. A spiritual entrepreneur who builds functioning systems around her practice is not compromising her integrity. She's protecting it. The problem is that most spiritual entrepreneurs resist the organizational side of their businesses because it does not feel like the real work. Spreadsheets, schedules, calendars, content calendars, financial tracking, these feel like administrative things, but really they are an important foundation. They're important, friends. And I suggest that you learn them. So, my name is Crystalline Bell. I am the host of Spiritual Business Hour with Crystalline Bell. And I come to you every day at 2 o'clock to talk about running your spiritual business. Today is Friday, and normally I talk about like beauty on Friday, but I got my days confused. And yesterday I talked about beauty. So today I'm talking about how to build things in your business. So every Thursday at 2 o'clock Pacific, I help you learn how to build something important for your business. Today, I'm going to show you how to build a content calendar. So if you don't know how to build a content, like you have a bunch of content and you don't know how to build a calendar, I'm going to show you how to build a spreadsheet for it. And I think you're going to like it. I love my content calendar because it's a way of being organized, and I have a Virgo moon, which means I feel safe when things are organized. I can function highly when things are organized. So for me, having spreadsheets is really, really important. Now, a lot of people, who are spiritual and who are woo-woo and want to just use their intuition when they're running their businesses, they act like these administrative obligations, like they act like administrative stuff is separate than the actual work of healing, coaching, or teaching. And the result is that these things get addressed inconsistently, if at all, really inconsistently, because they'll start something like you'll watch this video and you'll be like, I'm going to do this. And then you'll start it and then you'll drop it. It's like the intention is there, but the commitment is not there. And the problem is that the consequences are really big. So if you don't know what is coming in financially, how can you make a really good decision for your business? How do you know what to invest in when you don't know what's coming in? So a practitioner managing her schedule in her head is going to eventually drop something. If you have stuff in your head and that serves you, it's likely because you don't actually have a lot going on. And that could be good, but I don't know how you can be a busy practice or a busy practitioner if you don't actually have a lot going on. I've got a lot going on, and I do not try to keep it in my head. I have a calendar which I use. I also set alarms on a regular basis. Um, I have spreadsheets and I have everything written out. I've got folders, everything is really, really organized. So if you're a practitioner without an organized content system, right? Because you have content. I love creating content, right? I know you do too. I know because I love looking at what you create on social media, right? Your beautiful pictures, your beautiful stories that you're telling, the beautiful writings that you're doing, all of that needs to be created and organized instead of created in a reactive way or an inconsistent way. And it takes a lot more effort in the long run to run your business when you are when you're being inconsistent. Your work suffers not because you are lacking skill or commitment, okay? It's because the conditions that allow your work to be done well have not really been built. So right now, I'm able to come to you every day at 2 o'clock consistently. Now, look, this is only episode 10, but honestly, this is 2 weeks and I have not been a minute late. I've started on time every single day. And it's because all the structures are already built. I can just show up here and bring you my content in a relaxed and easy way. It feels good to me and you're getting high quality content, but that's because the structures are built. Now, there are three things I want to talk to you about. One is that I want you to understand that structure is a form of caring. So, building systems around your work is an act of caring. It's not really about, okay, the direct caring for your clients in the immediate moment. That's what you're accustomed to, right? But it's more about caring about the conditions that allow you to keep showing up for your clients and for your audience over and over and over again for a long period of time. All right. If I am not organized, I'm not going to be able to keep up the spiritual business hour. The rest of the whole system has to be working in order for me to be able to show up here consistently day after day, right? A practitioner who is financially clear, operationally organized, and working from a reliable system can be totally present in her work in a way that a practitioner that is kind of managing everything from memory and instinct simply cannot sustain. This is facts. You know this, right? You feel this. You've lived this, especially if you've been at it for years. I know because I see coaches coming at me and they're like, I am so tired. I can't possibly take on anymore. I'm drained. And they're like, I feel drained after I do all this work. And I'm like, dude, it's because you're not actually doing the right work. You're doing the things that keep you busy, but you're not actually building your empire with bricks. You're just kind of tossing things around. You're over here chasing this shiny object, over there chasing that shiny object. And that is going to get really tired really quick. All right, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is this content calendar. I love a good content calendar, and I'm going to show you a basic one because my goal is not to overwhelm you. I'm going to admit that if you do not know immediately how to build a spreadsheet, it is perfectly justifiable for you to feel overwhelmed and to be kind of repulsed. A spreadsheet, especially when you see one that is already built, like when you start trying to build one and you know where you have to go, it can feel overwhelming. But I'm going to show you, at least I'm going to try to show you how to do it one step at a time. So I've got a very simple content calendar that I'm going to show you how to build. Now, your content calendar is like the most foundational tool that you can have. Most spiritual entrepreneurs create reactively. Like they decide what to post or to talk about based on what they're going through in that day. And I used to do that, absolutely. I loved getting up in the morning, seeing how I felt, and then just making my posts at that time. And I still do that. But I also, those posts, I guarantee you, were not talking about my ideal client or their pain. I liked posting what was in my heart, and what might be in my heart might be about what I read that day or something like that. So for me, I still allow myself to make those kinds of posts where I am just in the moment. I'm just talking about what I'm experiencing. And that is something I'll write today, create an image today, and post today. However, when it comes down to my clients and the women who are struggling with the pain point that I have, that I solve, I am very specific. I make sure that I cover their pain point in so much depth that if you were to take all my posts from the last year, you could create a real bona fide book that helps them solve that problem. I am very thorough with those posts. So those are the kind of posts I sit down, I think through very logically, right? Like I need her to know this. I need her to understand this. I need her to understand that this must come before that. Very structured. I take the time to write those out, and then I schedule them in a way so that my regular followers, my regular readers are able to receive the information, and it just builds and builds and nurtures them in their work that they're doing. I do that on social media, but I also do that in email. So for me, that's the kind of content I create. In the comments, I'd love it if you would tell me what kind of content you create. What do you love putting together? I love, like I told you, I love putting together those morning musings, taking a tarot card and reading the tarot card and then writing about it and then sharing that with people. I love doing that. I also love kind of when I'm going through some kind of challenge, like my mind is challenged. I love writing about that and then sharing my insights. I might share my pain, but I might also share the steps I'm taking to overcome it. I love sharing those kinds of things. I also love creating pictures. So I might go to AI and have it, create some beautiful woman overlooking a beautiful valley or something like that. And if that matches my story, I'll put it there. Whatever my writing is doing, I'll go to AI and have it create a picture, and I might add some words to it or I might add my branding to it. I might do some writing over it. All of this, though, for me is incredibly fun. I love being a content creator. It's creative, it's sexy, it's fun. So the thing is, though, we want to honor our content. Even if you do something that's spontaneous and you put it on social media, you might want to just consider saving that piece of content and then putting it in your content calendar to share, in a year or in 6 months, because I guarantee you it will be fresh again in 6 months. So, what I want you to avoid doing is posting 100% reactively, where you're just responding to the moment, or I want you to have structured posts, and spontaneous post. So if you keep doing things just reactively and you don't build up your solid curriculum, you're going to end up being inconsistent, you're going to be unnecessarily stressed, and your content won't build towards something that's really useful. Sure, it might be cute, but we want it to be useful because your content is meant to pose you a as an authority, as an expert, as a leader. So a content calendar is going to help you do that. It connects your content to your themes, to your offers, and to your audience's actual journey. So what you create has direction, and your consistency stops really depending on how inspired you happen to feel on any given morning. All right. So that is really important. We don't want your business to be relying on your moods. Your business should be functioning whether you feel like it or not. Okay. That's how you know you have a real business. If there are systems that are operating while, you're dealing with your moon cycle and you just want to be alone, or, there's, you had some kind of a difficult conversation with somebody that you love and you are teary and you just can't deal with it right now. That's what a business is there to do, to go on without you so that you can take care of yourself and take the time you need, but your business goes on. All right. Now, here's the last thing I want to say before we get into building out that content calendar. I'm going to show you how easy this is. And you can I'm going to make it so easy. If you want the template, I want you to type into the comments, give me the template, Crystalline, and then I'll send it to you. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about is understanding operational chaos. You cannot be of service when your world or your business is chaotic. That background noise where you don't have your systems managed, like your finances. You don't track your finances. You don't know what your balance is. You don't know what bills are coming out on what day. You just know they come out. And sometimes they don't even get paid, or maybe you pay overdrafts because you don't manage your money. Maybe you have there's no clarity around your schedules. You don't have a system. Like, for me, look, I'm very, very organized right now. I've got all my calendars functioning beautifully, but there was a time when I did not. And I did not know the best way to get appointments onto my calendar. It's one thing when, your clients come in and they book themselves in. But what happens when you want to do a networking meeting with this wonderful, cool coach that you met and you guys want to brainstorm together? And what about your accountability partner? And what about somebody, you go to a networking meeting and you meet these people and you want to book appointments with them all, but like, how are you going to get the word out to all of them? You're going to send them all 15 different messages, or you're going to bulk do it. You have to be able to make those decisions, and that is a part of your business structure. You also want to make sure that you have a way of organizing your client information. Like I love the Badass Butterflies headquarters. That is how my coaches, the coaches who have studied with me, I get them set up under Badass Butterfly headquarters so that all those systems are in place for them. That is how I help them be organized. It's how I help myself help them, because when people come to me and they want to work with me and their stuff is not organized, the very first thing we do is get them organized. We start getting their systems in place, because I cannot coach someone who is scattered. You won't even make it past the interview process with me, So it's very, very important that you organize yourself and you honor organization as a part of your business. Again, organization is masculine, but the feminine and the masculine must work together. There is no such thing as, I'm just going to do everything the masculine way. I'm going to only be organized and structured. Nope. It's not going to work either if you're just like, I'm all feminine. I just dance and I do what I feel. That's not going to work either. The two need to be together, and maybe you need a marriage family therapist to help bring those two together in harmony. But then that's when you reach out to someone like me and ask for help. All right. So let's get into this spreadsheet that I've created. I realize that I don't know how to share my screen. I don't know how to share my screen. Uh-oh. I'm going to figure it out right now. I'm just going to push some buttons right now, okay? Present or invite. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, here we go. Slides in PDF, extra video file, image file, share screen. Boom, let me open this up here. There's my sample spreadsheet. I'm pulling it out, and I'm going to share screen. It says it works easiest with 2 monitors. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Okay, tips. I hear you, tips. All right, there we go. Spreadsheet. Allow. Okay, share. Also share tab. Audio. I'm not going to do that. Or whatever. All right. Let me ask Gazel, can you see my screen? Uh-oh. Gazel, are you there? Can you see my screen? You can. She gave me a thumbs up. Yay, we did it. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Gazel. Okay. Now, where is it? Here it is. Okay. Boom. All right. So this is a very, very basic content calendar. And we set up a date column here. Boop, boop, boop. Let me just delete that out. And let me delete out these little notes because I was trying to figure out how to do that. So you put the date. This is the date that you want your content to be published. This is the platform where you want it to be published. So number one, I thought I did. Hold on a second. I thought I made this a date column. I did make it a date column. It's not working though. Hold on. Stop. I really thought I made you a date column. Why is it not working? Do I have to put in, I don't know. I'm going to come back to this date column because there was a calendar that opened up a minute ago and now I don't know why it's opening. Oh, maybe I better refresh. Let me just reload because that might do it. Oh. So sorry, guys. I just got freaked out for a moment. Let's see. Okay. I don't know what's going on with the date column. Platform. So this is where you upload your platforms. So for me, I have my Facebook, I have YouTube, I've got my spiritual business hub, I've got Instagram, TikTok. So you load those under platform and you choose whichever platform you want to do. So let me just say that I'm going to post something on my personal Facebook page. Actually, and let me make this wrap format. Wrapping. Wrap. The date is, let's say June. I'm just going to put the date in here because I don't know why it's not working. June. Today, let's say that we're going to start on Monday, 20th, 21, 22, June 22, 2026. And the content type, you might have different content types. So you would, under platforms, you would list your different platforms and you have to put on what kind of content you have. So for example, I'm going to do maybe a blog article that I'm going to share on Facebook, or maybe I'm going to share a promotional post on Facebook, right? But you will put in what your content types are before you actually you load them up when you build out your spreadsheet, so that all you have to do is come in and select what it is you're doing. I keep my, let's see, I'm going to open up one of these windows. I don't think you'll be able to see this thing, but I have all of my stuff in a separate folder. And let's see, I'm looking for my marketing. This is going to go boom, boom. Wait, just a second, guys. Nope, that's not it. Here we go over here. Let's say that I want to, like, I have all of these articles that I've written in advance. And let's say that I want to, I'm looking at this right now. I'm looking at Google Drive, and there is a blog article, and the blog article is titled "Why Your Work Isn't Paying Off." So I'm going to copy that and pop it into this here. And then the theme will be whatever your theme is. So one of my themes, I have 12 themes that I talk about, and one of those themes is about overworking, right? So I'm going to just pop that here. You can preload your themes if you want to, or you can keep your theme more open and loose, and you can actually, like, for your theme, you can write out just maybe a paragraph of what this particular article is about. Now, here under status, you want to say whether it was scheduled or published or not started, or if you maybe have to, abort your mission, you might want to cancel it. Okay, so let's say that this one is not started because I'm gonna write down all the blogs that I want to do for the next week, and I'm going to put a link to the actual article here. Share. I'm copying the link. That's how we normally do it here at Badass Butterfly. We put a link to the article, and if I click on this, it'll actually open it up, right? And it takes me there, and then I can actually copy this and then post it into Facebook or on the blog or whatever. All right. Now, then I could do the next day. Again, I don't know exactly what's going on. Let's say I'm going to do this on the 24th. And this one is going to be, let's say that on the 24th, I'm going to actually post the exact same thing, but I'm going to do it on my blog instead of on Facebook, right? This lets me be so organized. This is why I love having a content calendar. I can see exactly what is going to be posted where and when, and I can know, it just gives me so much grounding, and it allows me to work ahead. I like working at least 4 weeks ahead. So if you can just spend a few hours on a Saturday, just kind of hammering through what you're going to post when, you set up your content calendar, and then you lay it all out, and then that next day, or that during that next week, you start actually laying out, and not laying it out, but you go in and you actually schedule it as you say. You put it on Facebook. My CRM allows you to schedule ahead of time. Badass Butterfly headquarters allows you to actually schedule your things in advance. You can schedule your videos, your reels, all those things can get scheduled in advance, so that you are, so it again is working for you, and you can be off doing some other stuff. All right, let me get back to this live stream, and let me see how to stop my share, remove, and here I am back. Boom. And that, my friends, is how to organize your stuff. All right? If this was helpful, let me know in the comments. If you're watching live, type hashtag live. If you're watching replay, type hashtag replay. What else? Join the Spiritual Business Hour with Crystal and Bell. We actually have a cheat sheet that we offer you each week. The cheat sheet for this week is about your purpose and how to step into that and how to start taking control of your business. And the link is in the comments. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now, friends. Mwah! Bye.